The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Grind with me, your host Hibak Said. This week we're going to be focusing on the manufacturing sector. We're trying to get a little bit heated up. The steel industry keeps growing, but of course the challenges grow with it as well. We do have our entrepreneur of the week who is going to be our analyst of the week, but first let's take a look at the market margins. The demand for steel is increasing in the country as government-driven infrastructural development and commercial and residential buildings surge. Kenya's steel sector is strongly linked to the growth of complementary sectors such as housing and construction, energy and electronics, and chemical and allied. Presently, Kenya's metal sector, iron and steel, forms approximately 13% of the manufacturing sector, with an overwhelming majority of the sector's products used in the construction industry. The direct and indirect consumption of steel in the country is projected to increase as the country embarks on the development activities as envisioned in Vision 2030. The sector, therefore, has an opportunity to enhance the country's infrastructure through the purchase of locally manufactured steel products, further bolster the growth of players within the value chains, consequently create jobs and wealth for many in the country. Despite this role, the sector continues to face various challenges that hinder its competitiveness. Key among them is the cost of raw materials, as Kenya has for years imported raw materials to produce steel products. This makes the sector subject to change in global prices. According to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, 10 years back, the steel sector was on its deathbed, with many companies shutting down and turning their facilities into real estate. Our entrepreneur this week is going to be telling us a little bit about this business. This is an item within your house. However, maybe you don't pay much attention to it. The industry, however, is growing. Ken, maybe if you could start by introducing yourself. What is your name? Why did you go into this business?
Okay, thank you very much and welcome to 720 Holdings. My name is Kenneth Karori Karaoke, a co-founder at 720 Holdings and the current CEO. 720 Holdings is a company that deals with manufacturing of curtain rods, specifically under the brand name Executive Curtain Rods and set pins. The reason as to why I got into executive curtain rods or manufacturing of curtain rods is we found that there is a need in the construction space, and that's how we got into it. Maybe a little bit more is when we started the whole company, we were doing furniture, things like beds, tables, windows, and all that. Then back in 2017, we introduced powder coating service. And from there on, in 2019, we decided to narrow down into curtain rods and let go of the other products. 2020 came in, there was COVID, and for us, the business boomed and curtain rods was really exciting. And from there on, that's when we decided to really automate. And that's how 720 came about to be. Looking at engineering and reverse engineering. Thank you.
So this is a business that came from a necessity. Maybe a lot of people do have curtain rods within their houses, but they don't really know what goes into it. Can you just take us through the process of manufacturing a curtain rod?
Okay. Curtain rods are basic commodities in the house. Yes, we always hang them on the windows, and one of the things that we believe in at 720 is that we need to love our windows. So the process of making curtain rods, it all begins from furniture pipe and sheet metal. Then from there, the products now come out of it. In a curtain rod, we have the rod itself, we have brackets, then we have the different flowers or finials, we have rings for the people who want them, and basically those are the items in a curtain rod. Yes.
Right. There is, of course, the aspect of the material that you use. Different materials have different price ranges. What material is it that you use? What do you recommend for people in their houses?
Yes. Currently, what we use is mild steel. And the reason as to why we use mild steel, it's slightly stronger compared to, say, plastic or wood. And the beauty again with mild steel is it can be powder coated, and powder coating gives it a better finish and the finish that you'd want to match your house. Yes.
Now, there's the aspect of durability as well.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes people do buy products, they find that they're not the best, and you are competing with people who usually import. How exactly do you ensure that the durability of your product is top-notch? How do you get an edge with your competitors?
Okay, we get the edge from sourcing right. Once you source right the raw materials, then that gives you an edge from the beginning point. If you compare to imports, you find that the raw materials used in the imports, they're slightly light, and it's understandable because if you bring something heavy, there's a freight cost in it. So for us to be sustainable or to make it sure that we're competitive and to give a good quality, we always look at sourcing of the raw materials, right? And here, we are, as I mentioned, we are talking about furniture pipe. We use 1.2 mm, 25 millimeter diameter. Then for the brackets and the finials and caps, we use CRCA. There is a product known as CRCA. We can just call it sheet metal for now, yeah, for ease of understanding. Yes.
Now, of course, you said that you started this in 2020 is when it boomed because of COVID. I'm sure you're not the only person who noticed this. There are competitors.
Yes.
How exactly do you ensure that you have a good market space to sell your products?
First and foremost, 2020, that's when it boomed. And competition is there, and that is the nature of any business. To stay competitive, one of the things that we've looked at is how do we automate our processes? What is it that the market needs, and how do we meet the needs of the market? So that's one of the things that we've definitely looked at to help us have an edge. Automation, I would say, is the biggest thing that has really helped us. Let me give you a brief story. When we started, previously we'd make the curtain rods manually, and we'd use these German machines, Essingcraft machines, which we found them in one of the expos at KICC. So we bought some of the machines, borrowed some money, bought some of the machines, and would manually make the products. In a day, when we'd manually make them, and by then we were a team of 3, we'd make maybe 100 pieces. Then in 2020, we knew of the bit about automation, so we moved from 100 pieces to around 1,000 pieces a day. So automation is a key thing. End of last year, that's 2023, we actually now learned more about further automation. And this year, at least we've tried some element of that. And what that means is from 100 to 1,000, and currently you can make up to 20,000 a day from automation. So that keeps us different.
Right, that's really impressive. And I can see you have a number of machines here. Maybe if you could just tell us, where exactly did you get these machinery and what brought it about? What was the necessity point that you were like, I have to get these machines so that I can do this and this with it?
Yes, most of the machines that are here, they are known as power presses of different tonnage, and most of them are imported. They are from China. China is not as bad as guys say, but they give us good machines here. So they are power presses, and how we got into them was, remember I told you the German machines that we were using, they are very manual. Then my co-founder, who's also my business partner, a very good engineer, thought about how do we automate the process, and that's how we came about the power presses. But guess what? There's more to the power presses in the future because there's only so much that they can do. Automation is the next bit, and we hope to get there in due time.
And importing can be a bit difficult. I know all things from China don't necessarily have to be bad, but this machinery, you had to import it. What was the process like? Did you maybe have challenges?
I would say importing wasn't bad, but definitely started from a learning point. Before I knew about Alibaba, where you can source your machines from, I would import directly. And there's a sad story there, but we learned about it, yeah? So Alibaba became our sourcing point, and the beauty about importing from there is that there's an element of trade assurance. Then that gives you some assurity of that the machine that you're going to buy is going to arrive. Then if you have constant communication and if you actually know what you want, it becomes easy to talk to the supplier who's going to give you the specifications of the machines even before you bring them in.
Right. Kenneth, a lot of people would say that you've been in this business for a very large number of years. Maybe if you could just tell us, what was the tipping point? What would you say was the point you were about to give up on this particular business? What made you keep staying?
Maybe to answer that question, it would be good to start from where it all began. I graduated from the University of Nairobi, and I did a bachelor's in engineering, mechanical, and manufacturing. After that, what we are looking for is to make an income. And before we got any jobs, what we did was selling tea leaves and fruits and juice. Then from there on, that's when we bought our first welding machine. Then our welding skills were really not that good. We talked to a few people who advised us to get professional welders, but we couldn't afford to do that. So we got into basic metal fabrication, which was designing intricately shaped products. And by then I was still employed. So this was a side hustle. And they encourage guys to start from somewhere, because at least when you're employed, it gives you lessons that you get to learn on running a business. The tipping point was when I asked myself, what is this thing that I can do easily and faster compared to welding windows and all that. And my business partner and I sat down and said, let's do curtain rods and bedside tables. It's, I'd call it golden goose that the curtain rods now picked it up really well. So the tipping point was when we made that decision, moving from general fabrication to specialization into curtain rods. Have I thought about giving up on this? I haven't, I'll be very honest. And it's because I'm passionate about it, and I've seen growth from a team of 3 people when we started, or 2, my business partner and I, to the current team of slightly over 30. So I haven't really given up. Sometimes competition is a big challenge, but you embrace it. In fact, I remember one of the person telling me, there's someone who's really competing with you. And I told them, let's get to know who it is, so that when you automate the process, we can sell to them, because they import. Our biggest competition is imports from Asia. That's the biggest competition. But in the space that we are in, we can actually make a difference. So I haven't really thought about giving up on this business.
Which is fantastic. Now, for a lot of businesses who are even thinking about taking up this particular grind, they might be thinking, what market should I be looking forward to? Where exactly can I sell? How has your journey been like when it comes to finding a market and customers?
For anyone who would want to start a similar business, actually I would say the space is huge. My market is not your market is not my market, and the world is full of over 4 billion people. And I encourage guys to, let's do this, let's build Kenya. Manufacturing is the way to go. How we go to build our market is, digital space has really been helpful. With the digital marketing department, that has really helped us. One of the things is, some of our customers looking at homeowners, architects, distributors and all that, we realize that there is a space in the hardware section. So we find that there are wholesalers who are able to sell some of our products. So I would encourage people, get into manufacturing, and it doesn't have to be in this line. Engineering is very beautiful. As guys, you only deal with sheet metal, you can deal with wire products. There's so much that can be done. And welcome guys,
On that note, when it comes to marketing yourself, especially on the digital space, we will be talking about that after the break. But now we take a short breather. When we come back, we're going to be having Business Capital and then our Analyst of the Week. Don't go too far. Welcome back to The Grind. Before we went on a break, we were looking into the manufacturing sector. curtain rod manufacturing to be very specific. We're going to be having our analyst of the week, but first let's take a look at the business capital.
Ken's business could be categorized as one in a niche market. So how do you make an edge for yourself in such a trade? 1. Understand demographics and psychographics. Before entering a niche market, it's essential to understand its demographic and psychographic specifics. The demographic data includes age, gender, location, and income level, while psychographic data encompasses interest, attitudes, and behaviors. Most of this data can be collected through surveys, social media analytics, and marketing research platforms. 2. Identify niche market trends. Staying up to date with the latest trends in your target market helps maintain competitiveness. Trend identification can be done using tools like Google Trends, Trend Hunter, and Feedly. 3. Analyze competitors in the niche. Competitor analysis is crucial to evaluate niche market potential as it highlights both opportunities and threats. 4. Target more effectively. By understanding the specific needs and preferences of each segment, companies can tailor their marketing efforts more effectively, leading to higher conversion rates. 5. Allocate resources wisely. Segmentation helps businesses prioritize and allocate their resources to the most profitable segment.
And right from Business Capital, we're going to be having our Analyst of the Week. Our Analyst of the Week is Ken. Ken is really good at what he does. He has been doing this for years, and Ken is an engineer as well. He's going to be telling us how this particular sector is working. Ken, maybe we were talking about the digital space, how you have used it to grow your business. Maybe when it comes to these products, how well can you use the digital space, not only for marketing but for branding?
How well you can use the digital space depends on your creativity. Right now, especially with young people around Gen Zs, try get maximum use of them. Yeah? So what you just need to do is ensure that you're on all platforms. Like at 720 or Executive Curtain Rods, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we have our TikTok. We should be getting on X, but I know we are on YouTube as well. So using this digital space is something that I would encourage anyone to do in order to get known, then get feedback from people and learn as much as possible. So that would be my input on the digital space. Yes.
You use sheet metal to make some of these products that you have. I know that importing some of these raw materials can be very difficult. What are some of the challenges you've encountered when it comes to importing this?
Okay, the biggest challenge, especially for first-time importers, would be to know the issue of the rates that apply. We have the customs, you have VAT and other charges that come into place. But if you get someone who will guide you in that process, it becomes easy. The other biggest challenge that an importer would have is sourcing the right raw material. Because in Kenya, we have KEBS that is there to certify products. So you have to ensure that whatever it is that you are sourcing is KEBS approved. Because if it's not, then you might have a really tough time. So importing is, what you need is to equip yourself and know the right people, whatever it is that they are doing, and they'll help you in the process. Yes, yeah.
Home decor can be a bit tricky because the trends are changing all the time. We used to have curtain boxes made of wood, now we have curtain rods. How do you keep up with the trends?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because previously it was curtain boxes, right now we are on curtain rods. The future, we don't know what is going to be there. But one of the things is we maximize on the space that we are in right now. It would be good to say, when we started, we only had one product, which was a bracket, which I'll show you. But at the moment, we have over 28 products. So we keep improving. If curtain rods get phased out, what you're looking at is automated rods. That's a sector that is really coming up. And in our lifetime, I think we'll still enjoy the curtain rods for some time, and unless something else comes up, which could be there, could come and disrupt the market. But the beauty is, if you look at the machines that we have, all you need to change is not the entire machine, it's just part of the machine to adapt to new technologies. I also mentioned about automation. Automation will help us get many other products, so let's not be afraid of the movement in trends, yeah.
Right, you have a number of employees here, and these machines need people who are certified, people who are trained. Maybe for someone who's getting into this business, what are some of the qualifications they should be looking out for? How many employees should they have?
If you want to get into such a business, definitely start with the space that you are in. If you are one person or say two people, use the manual machines. If you have a team, the qualification that you need, I would actually encourage technical skill so that you're able to understand how to operate the machines. And it doesn't have to be a degree. Right now the government is really talking about TVETs. These are skills that are given, these are institutions that are given the necessary skills to run these machines. IT is the next big thing that I would encourage anyone to have that skill, because that's the trend that we are going to. So the skill is mostly technical skill, but not everyone runs the machines. There are people in the packaging department, there are people in the digital space, so different skills are needed, yes.
Now let's talk about paperwork and permits. This is a manufacturing industry. This is a business that needs to manufacture. What are some of the things that one would require to run this business?
The first thing I would say is it's good to comply. Compliance is very key. When you're starting a business, try as much as possible to comply with what you can. And the least that you can do is a business permit. Business permit, that would be the first thing. Then, as you keep growing, the next thing that you need to look at are things like compliance with the tax person, compliance with KEBS, compliance with, say, NITA, and you keep growing that thing. The thing that I would encourage as an entrepreneur, start from where you are. Yeah, if you focus on compliance from the word go, you might not even start that business, but just start with from where you are.
Right.
Yes, yes.
And the economy keeps on changing and things are always changing. Electricity is a high cost for this particular business. How exactly are you keeping up with it? Are there mitigation measures that you usually have, energy saving measures, in order to ensure that that cost is reduced?
At the moment, electricity has been, the electricity cost has been slightly high. Okay, there has been a reduction maybe in the last 3 months or so, but before that it was really high. I remember back in, I think, 2021, there was a reduction in cost of electricity. And for us, the implication of that was I was able to run my oven 7 times. But I'm hoping that the current government is able to look at this, because it's a factor or a cost that we need to ensure that as manufacturers are supported. Other measures that we've tried to look at into ensuring that our costs are good is looking at solar. It's something that we are considering, but the initial cost is definitely slightly high, and the power required from the machines or the ovens is slightly higher from what we can get, but it's something that we're considering in order to ensure that we are energy efficient.
And speaking of solar, sustainability is a huge topic right now, and ensuring that environmentally you're doing well as well when you're manufacturing. How exactly do you ensure that you are a sustainable business?
To be sustainable, I would look at it from 2 perspectives in terms of the business angle. Sustainability is about margins in your products. Sustainability is about diversity in your products, so that you have more than or a portfolio in your products. Sustainability is also looking at the eco-environment. How can we tap into, say, the green energy in order for us to have a better cost in our model? So that's what I would say about sustainability. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, actually. Let's talk about the future of your business. You've said that curtain rods are not going anywhere anytime soon, and we do hope so, because I'm a big fan. I'm one of the people who uses them. However, there are going to be changes. There should be changes. Are you looking into expanding your business? Where is the future for you?
The future of the business, one of the things that 720 looks at is we focus on manufacturing for Africa. beyond manufacturing for Africa, we look at having global standards. So these are some of the things that help us to look at the future that is. The other things that help us look at the future is our core values, where it's innovation, creativity, and problem solving. As I started, I mentioned we had one product. Right now we have 28 products. In the next few years, we hope to have many other products. Right now it's power presses. Behind you there is a machine known as a hammer. We are getting into forging and CNC. So we are not only looking at curtain rods, we are looking at manufacturing. And one of the things I'll say is, let's embrace manufacturing, let's embrace engineering, and allow me to say, let's embrace reverse engineering. So that we don't have to be the initial guys, just reverse engineer things. Yeah. So we are looking at a bright future, and beyond curtain rods, we hope to get into many other products. So kindly follow us through.
Right.
Yes.
Ken, you've made a business for yourself, you've made a job for yourself. In as much as you do have one of, the practices that people think you could get employed very easily for, a lot of youth are looking at you right now. What would you tell them? How would you encourage them?
For the youth or someone who's looking for a job, the first thing I would really encourage is get employed, if possible. Yeah, it's good to start your own business, but when you get employed, you learn a few skills here and there. Then start something small on the side. Us guys, when we started, it took us almost 7 years for us now to now get into the business full time. And in these 7 years, the business needed electricity, needed welding rods. So I had to get a job elsewhere first for this to be sustainable. So to encourage people, think about employment, think about self-employment at the same time, but let it be a long-term game so that it's not a quick fix. Yeah. Then the other thing is manual jobs or manual skills. Yeah? These are things that I would encourage guys to have. For the youth, for people who can create employment, please let's create employment for these people. I'll be happy to say a majority of the team in my business are youth. Around 90% are youth. Around 50% women, 50% men. Then we have 3% persons living with disability. So try and encompass or try have many people as much as you can. But begin from somewhere and aim for global standards.
Begin from somewhere and aim for global standards. You have the chance to not only make employment for yourself, but for others as well. Ken has done it. You can do it. This is what we had for this week on The Grind. Do interact with us on our socials and on the text numbers on your screen. Until next week, same time, same place. My name is Hibak Saeed. Adios.